share of thank you, Arnie, for starting the recording. I forgot to say that. Thank you. So again, this is part 2 of managing anxiety naturally. So we're going to jump in to mindfulness exercises that we can all benefit from. So let me explain a little bit of the background. Why do we get this anxious feelings? Why do we feel like our chest is getting tighter? Why do we feel sometimes that we can't breathe? It can be really scary, just feeling that debilitating anxiety and fears and worries. So our body has something called the fight or flight response. And let me just share an article that I put in here. I put in here an article, and let me see if I can go straight to it. No, so I'm gonna pause the share and pick that article. Okay, let me choose that article and then I'll share again. Seems like it's stuck. There you go. Okay, so let me choose the article. This one. Do you guys see the article, or no, I need to share again. I'll go back to sharing. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit about the benefits of breathing, but something that happens when we feel anxious is we get this fight or flight response. And this fight or flight, it's kind of like our nervous system has 2 different parts. It has a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic. The sympathetic one is the one that when we feel really, really stressed, like we're getting chased by a lion, and a lot of things in the body stop to work, like our digestion slows down. Sometimes even we're just running, we're running away from the lion, and all these other bodily functions kind of slow down, but we get that strength to be able to run, and our adrenaline is pumping, and we have to survive, right? Well, people that have anxiety, they get stuck in that stressful state, in this sympathetic nervous system state, and the body just keeps reacting. Well, our goal is to activate the parasympathetic, which is the relaxed state. What happens in this relaxed state? In the relaxed state, what happens is our digestion is better, our body produces more good bacteria, such as probiotics, which help us to have a strong immune system. We can be more calm, we can be more rational. So today's exercises, what we're going to do is we will work on putting a pause on this sympathetic nervous system that wants us to run and get that lion, and we're going to activate the parasympathetic that brings calmness and balance. So here are some benefits of deep, slow breathing. So the exercise I want to share with you that's really, really simple. There's a doctor named Andrew Weil, and he developed this exercise called 4-7-8. And it's such a simple exercise where you breathe in while you count to 4, you hold the breath while you count to 7, and you release the air out for 8. So some of the benefits are to really to lower blood pressure, improve sleep. People that practice this regularly feel less pain. So here are some examples of different studies that have been done. So you can kind of click on the different things and it will take you to further information. Improved concentration. They did a study in 2017. And this deep, slow breathing really helps to calm down the nervous system, help us feel more relaxed. And eventually, if we practice these things, such as the breathing technique and other things I'm going to share with you today, you're going to see that this sympathetic nervous system that puts you in that fight or flight mode to chase the lion is just going to get more quiet, and you'll be able to control it more. So I wanted to show you a video. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share the video now with Dr. Andrew Wiles. So let me go ahead and share that one. I'm going to make sure I click the sound. There you go. And choose the video. There you go. Okay, so this is a very short video with Dr. Andrew Wiles explaining this exercise. And if you would like, feel free to follow along. He will explain it a little bit and then he will walk you through how to do it. So feel free to practice. We can all practice together. So let's see.
The famous 4-7-8 breath, the relaxing breath that I teach to all patients and doctors and students and friends, another yoga breathing technique. In this, you try to keep your tongue in the yogic position, touching the tip of the tongue to the ridge of tissue just behind your upper front teeth, like that, and try to keep it there the whole time. You breathe in quietly through your nose to a count of 4, and you hold your breath for a count of 7, and then blow air out forcefully through your mouth. Helps if you purse your lips out and you make a whoosh sound when you do that. So the exercise begins by letting all the air out through your mouth. Then you close your mouth, breathe in silently to a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 7, out through your mouth audibly to a count of 8, and you will repeat this for 4 breath cycles. Looks like this. That's it. You must do this at least twice a day. You can do it more frequently if you want, but never more than 4 breath cycles at one time, at least for the first month. After a month, if you're comfortable with it, you can increase to 8 breath cycles, and that's the absolute maximum. It's desirable to slow the whole exercise down as you practice it. What limits you is how long you can comfortably hold your breath, but as you practice that, you'll get better and better at it. And after doing this for 4-6 weeks, you can begin trying to use it for things. If somebody says something that pushes your button, you do this exercise before you react. It's a great way to deal with cravings. It's a great way to help you fall asleep. If you get up in the middle of the night for any reason, get back in bed, you do the exercise, you'll fall asleep easily. After 2 months, 3 months of regular practice, there are very significant changes that happen in physiology. This lowers heart rate, it lowers blood pressure, improves digestion. It is a very powerful anti-anxiety measure, in fact, much more powerful than the anti-anxiety drugs that are commonly prescribed. Takes no time, needs no equipment, very time and cost effective. Everything to recommend it, so I urge you to begin practicing this.
Okay. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope you were able to follow along. Did it feel like it was easy, or did you find it a little different? I know sometimes, so when he explains to put the tongue on the roof of your mouth, it's kind of just like where that ridge is before you touch your teeth. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you kind of keep it there gently. And one of the reasons I've seen other videos with him where he explains why should we hold the tongue there. And in Chinese medicine, our body has all these meridians, which they use when they do acupuncture. They put it on meridian points. They're like energetic points that represent different organs. So what he says in a different video is that all the meridians meet in the roof of the mouth. So when we are putting our tongue there, it's like we are detaching or resetting these energetic meridians, which really helps to reset the body and reset the organs, which is very interesting. And someone, Kalina, is saying that she learned a different breathing exercise, but that was also really helpful. Good. So any kind of breathing exercise will help to activate this relaxation state in the body and turn off the hormones that are really causing us to feel anxious. So I think the secret is that the out breath should be held a little bit longer than the in breath. So a lot of the different exercises I've seen, you know, some of them are really simple, like take 6 in, take 8 out, or, you know, breaths, 6 breaths in, 6 breaths out. I think the holding for 7, it really does a little bit extra to reset these meridians that cause us stress. So give this a try, and I would really like you to share with us how you like it. So let me go on to the next exercise that I'm going to talk about. It's emotional freedom technique. So I'll share the slides. I did email out the slides. If you cannot see them really well here, I did email them out so you can follow along. So do you guys see my slides now?
Yes, we can see them.
Okay. So this other exercise is called EFT, or emotional freedom technique. And this is something that I thought was really odd when I had a doctor friend who taught me this exercise when one of my sons had some fears when he was younger. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is like kind of different. But once I got the hang of it and I started practicing, I could not believe the benefits. Like they were like fast and instant. So what the bottom line is that we have these different meridian points on our body based on Chinese medicine. And again, these meridian points are connected to organs. And the article that I included here at the top shows the different organs that are, so let me just see if I can pull that article. Do you guys see the article, or do I have to switch? Do you see the one says EFT tapping?
We can't see the article, Otilia. We just see your slide on tapping points.
Okay. So I'll just leave it there and I'll share with you what's in the article. So this article says that the different tapping points are connected to different governing meridians, and we have 12 major meridians. This is all comes kind of from Chinese medicine, and these this exercise will address about 9 of the different meridians. So the one at the bottom of our pinky, kind of like the karate chop on our hand, is the small intestine meridian. Top of the head is called the governing vessel. The eyebrow is for the bladder. The side of the eye is for the gallbladder. Some of them are for the stomach, collarbone, and spleen. Another thing that I found really interesting is that there are, let me see, let me do a new share. There are specific emotions that are connected to, I'm gonna do a new share. There's specific emotions that are connected to different organs. And I thought this was so fascinating. So I read a book a few years ago called The Emotion Code. So this has this chart, again, based on Chinese medicine. Do you guys see the chart? This has a chart that talks about which organs, which emotions correspond with each organ, with all the different organs. So like the heart and the small intestine, for example, correspond to emotions related to feeling abandoned, betrayal, feeling lost, feeling unloved, having heartache, insecurity. And then if you look at where's anxiety here, spleen and stomach. So sometimes I hear people that they say, like, especially my mom, when she gets anxious, she says, I feel it in my stomach. So I don't know if you have that feeling, but let me look at the chat here, because someone, how do we detox? Let's see. Oh, your therapist, Galina, said that her therapist just recommended this technique. Oh, I love it. I love the synchronicity. Aaron is saying, how do we detox the body and allow it to relax besides the breathing? And why does my body react to these emotions? It seems like as soon as COVID happened, if I felt worse. Yeah, definitely. So as part of, I'm going to teach you a little bit more, but detoxing, if you talk about detoxing the body, like from toxins, now sometimes anxiety can happen from toxins, too many toxins getting overbuilt in the body and not drinking enough water. So one way that I love to detox is by exercising, by jumping on a mini trampoline called the rebounder. It's very, very good to cleanse our lymphatic system. I also detox by doing green juicing. Like instead of having breakfast, I will have a glass of green juice and then just eat lighter for a week or two to let the body kind of expel the toxins. But I will be talking about more, I'm going to give you more specific exercises you can do to kind of detox from the toxic emotions, right, and traumas. So what this doctor, so there's a doctor that wrote this book called The Emotion Code. I believe his name is Dr. Bradley. And he says that emotions get trapped, or traumas, when we have a traumatic event, emotions that we feel at that time can get trapped in the body in different organs. So, you know, like I said, it's so interesting. If you look at the stomach and the spleen, you have anxiety, you have despair, nervousness, worry, feeling helpless, hopeless, lack of control, and so on. So, and then a lot of people that have anxiety also get fear. So what is fear connected to? Kidneys or bladder? I know for myself, if I go through a really stressful event, if I'm really fearful of something, I feel like my bladder gets irritated, and I usually will go and have some cranberry juice because I don't want to get a bladder infection. But I found this correlation very, very true for me. And then, so you can find this online by just Googling the emotion code chart, but I'm happy to put this link in a chat because it's a really kind of interesting, there we go. It's a really interesting chart and really interesting concept to consider. So the other thing, like if you know people that are really bitter and are really angry a lot, you know, anger and bitterness is really connected to the liver. So in Chinese medicine, they say that our liver and gallbladder holds anger. So people that are also always frustrated, or they feel depressed, or they panic easily, you know, the liver and gallbladder needs to be supported. How do we support the liver? One way that I support the liver is eating less meat, eating less sugar, dandelion tea. There's like the green juicing again. Something that I take in the morning is some lemon juice that really helps to detoxify the liver too. Just squeezing the juice from half a lemon in a little bit of not hot water, but just warm water. And then I add a tablespoon of chlorophyll. Liquid chlorophyll is like the green liquid from the plants. So that's how I help my liver. So this is just a very interesting chart that I wanted to show you because it's so, and if you read the book, The Emotion Code, it actually teaches you how to use this chart to release emotions. So it's a fascinating kind of technique. And there are practitioners out there that teach the emotion code, or they are like a therapist that practice it. So if you search online, practitioners that offer the emotion code, sometimes you can find people that you can have a consultation with or something like that. So now I wanted to go to the actual, I'm going to show you a little video that will demonstrate how to do this tapping on the meridian points on the face and different parts of the body. So let me find that. So it's over here. Nick, okay. So let me go ahead and share again. Okay, so I'm going to share and make sure the sound is on. Okay. Oops, I didn't share the right thing. Sorry. Oh, I did. You guys see this video that says 3-minute tapping session?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
can
do.
see it.
Perfect. Okay, so this will be interesting for you to watch. So Nick Author, he is one of the guys that have written many, many books on this technique, the EFT. Actually, during some of the school shootings, like the really famous one, I forget what it was called. They went into the schools and they taught children how to use these tapping techniques. Nick Author and his sister Jessica, they wrote several books. One of them is The Tapping Solution. And they also have an app that I'm gonna talk about a little bit later, but I'll let you listen for a little bit to see how he explains, and he will demonstrate. And if you want to follow along, that might be helpful.
Right. So if it's safe to do so, if you're not driving in the car, just close your eyes and take a gentle breath in. And let it go. And we're going to do another one, and I want you to notice just how full your breath is. So is it full and going down deep into your belly, relaxed and open, or is it tight and constricted and up high in your chest? So go ahead and breathe in and just notice. And as you tune into that breath, just tune into all the anxiety that you might be feeling. How much anxiety is in your breath? How much stress are you feeling right now? And give it a number on a scale of 0 to 10. So on the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm about everything that's happening, just give it a number.
And would this number be between 1 and 10?
Yes, 0 to 10. Absolutely.
0 to 10. Excellent.
Yeah. And pick whatever number, and then we'll gently open our eyes and do some tapping. So I'm going to lead you through. Marie, will you be my echo?
Oh, of course. And does it matter what side we're going on?
Nope. Whatever feels comfortable for you.
Great.
And you can do eyes opened or closed if you know the points and you like to go deeper and close them. And then I'm going to do the face points for this demonstration. If you're out and about and you pulled over to tap with us and you haven't washed your hands, just skip them. The process works great skipping points. It's not.
Also, too, not to interrupt you, but for the folks listening on the podcast, will you talk us through, just in case they can't see the visual?
You got it. So we're starting to tap on the side of the hand. It's called the karate chop point. It's below the pinky on the outside of the hand. So you're taking 4 fingers of one hand and tapping gently, whatever hand feels comfortable.
And should you switch hands? By the way, I'm going to be the annoying person asking all the questions.
Do. I love it.
Because I know that my audience is going to be like, what are we doing? How do I do it? Am I doing it wrong?
Yeah,
Great.
You don't need to switch hands, whatever feels comfortable for you. Yeah.
Great.
So we're tapping gently. We're tuning into that breath, and repeat after me. Even though I feel so much anxiety.
Even though I feel so much anxiety.
About everything that's going on.
About everything that's going on.
I choose to relax and feel safe now.
I choose to relax and feel safe now.
And we're still on the side of the hand, tapping gently, even though this feels so overwhelming.
Even though this feels so overwhelming.
I choose to relax and feel safe now.
I choose to relax and feel safe now.
And one more time, still tapping on the side of the hand, even though I'm holding so much stress in my body.
Even though I'm holding so much stress in my body.
It's safe to let it go now.
It's safe to let it go now.
Now we're going to tap through the points. The first point is the eyebrow, inside of the eyebrow, right where the hair ends and it meets the nose. You can use 2 fingers of one hand, the other hand, or both hands. The meridians run down both sides of the body, and you're just tapping gently and tuning in to that stress and anxiety. All we're doing in this moment is we're actually looking to fire that amygdala because we want to counteract it with that calming signal. So just tapping gently and breathing gently. Now we'll move to the side of the eye. It's not at the temple, a little further in, right on the bone. Again, one side or both sides. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Take a moment to think about just how overwhelmed you are. There is so much going on, and that's okay.
There's so much going on, and that's okay.
Under the eye, right on the bone. It's safe to feel this anxiety.
It's safe to feel this anxiety.
Under the nose. And it's safe to begin to let it go.
And it's safe to begin to let it go. I hope everyone listening to the podcast right now comes and watches the visual. Just had to say.
Under the mouth, you're going to go above the chin, below the lip, and that little crease in there, we're tapping with 2 fingers, tapping gently. It's safe to feel this anxiety.
It's safe to feel this anxiety.
For the collarbone point, feel for the 2 little bones of the collarbone. Just go about an inch right below it. You can tap with all 10 fingers of both hands. It's safe to feel this anxiety.
It's safe to feel this anxiety.
Underneath the arm, 3 inches underneath the armpit, either side of the body, right on the broad line for women. It's safe to feel all the stress.
It's safe to feel all the stress.
Now we'll move back to the top of the head, and it's safe to let it go.
And it's safe to let it go.
Moving back to the eyebrow, it's safe to breathe deeply.
It's safe to breathe deeply.
Side of the eye, I acknowledge all my stress.
I acknowledge all my stress.
Under the eye, and I begin to feel safe in my body.
And I begin to feel safe in my body.
Under the nose, the more I relax.
The more I relax.
Under the mouth, the more my body heals.
The more my body heals.
Collarbone, the more I relax.
The more I relax.
Under the arm, the more my body heals.
The more my body heals.
Top of the head, letting go now.
Letting go now.
And you can gently stop tapping and take a breath in and let it go. So that was 2 very quick rounds, and now we tune back in. So we say, first the breath. So go ahead and just take a breath. I know, I tapped earlier this morning, but I've had a busy day, and even in that 2 rounds, I felt my breath deepen back down into my stomach. So just tune into that. And then also notice that anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm. It was a 10 or a 9 or an 8. What's the new number? What came up? And the tapping process is continuing to do that. So we did 2 rounds for demonstration. A lot of the meditations on our app are anywhere between 8 and 12 minutes to go a little bit deeper. And then what happens with the tapping process also too is that we start doing it and we think we're worried about one thing, but all of a sudden we realize, oh, you know what? It's really this thing that I'm worried about. So it's almost like self-therapy where it like lets our unconscious mind give us the truth about what we're feeling, what's happening, and helps us to let go.
So I hope that you found that helpful. I cannot tell you how powerful this tool and this exercise is. Hold on a second. Make sure I stop the.
Hey everyone, well.
There we go. The YouTube. It's such a powerful exercise. I'm gonna just go to the slide again. I had a friend who had severe fears, and she had to go get a test. She was in a study at UCSF, and she had to go get a test, like an MRI test, where she had to be in this tube for an hour. I forget, it was called MRI or something else, but she came to me and she said, every time I go to get this test, they give me this medication and I've been having reactions from it. So is there anything you can help me with this fear of feeling claustrophobic? So I taught her how to do this, this tapping, and we practiced 2 days before. She was able to go through this test that she had to get, be in this tube for 1 hour without panicking and getting anxiety or taking medications. So it's such a powerful exercise, but it's kind of like you have to practice, and there's so many YouTube videos. Yeah, you can access the video later. It's all in the PowerPoint that I emailed you right before the class. So if you go to this slide of the emotional freedom technique, the video is right here. It says 7-minute video on the slide. So that's where it is. So you can use that. And then, does it matter how slow or how fast? No, it doesn't matter. Some people have used it even without saying the statements out loud. They were just thinking in their heads and they were still working. They've done a lot of studies on this. So I will show you. So here in the slide, I included a very simple way. So there are many different ways to do it, and there's no right or wrong, as long as you're thinking of your fear or whatever the issue is, and you are tapping on these points, it's going to work. You don't have to do it perfectly. So the easiest way that I found to do it is what I wrote here. I wrote here 5 steps for you. You identify the issue. So like the issue here is fear and anxiety. And then ask yourself, on a scale of 0 to 10, how bad is it right now? So let's just say, okay, one person might say, oh, for me, it's a 5. One person might say, oh, for me, it's really bad today. It's an 8, it's a 9, it's a 10, right? So write that down. And then go to the karate chop that he showed right below the pinky on your hand. And then you say the setup phrase. So even though I have this fear, and sometimes you can be really specific. Sometimes people will have a specific fear of like, okay, I have a fear of driving. I have a fear of going to the doctor. I have a fear of getting out of the house. I have a meeting coming up with my boss and I have to do a presentation and I'm really fearful. So if you have something more specific that you're fearful about, you can say it, or you can just keep it general to say, I have fear and anxiety, or my anxiety is just at 10 and I'm not sure why, it's okay to just say it, whatever you're feeling. And then after you say, I have this fear, you say, I deeply and completely accept myself. I also included an article in this slide right here at the top. It's called What is EFT Tapping? And this article also goes through all the steps for you. And it explains it in more detail. So what I do is I go to the karate chop and I just tap there and I say, even though I have this fear, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then I go to the meridian points and I take 2 fingers and I go on the eyebrow point like they showed. And I just say the simple word, this anxiety. And then I go to the next point on the side of the eye, this anxiety, under the eye, this anxiety, under the nose, this anxiety, under the chin or under chin, this anxiety, collarbone, this anxiety, underarm, this anxiety, and then I go to the top of the head, this anxiety. So some of the videos, the way they do it is first they say the negative, so like the problem, and then they do it one more time with a positive statement, like going back to the points to say the eyebrow point, even though I'm feeling this anxiety, I choose to stay calm. So Nick Arthur, actually, he used some of the positive statements. And you can go and to the side of the eye, and you can say, I choose to stay calm. Under the eye, I choose to stay calm. Under the nose, I choose to stay calm. The chin, I choose to stay calm. So you can make it really simple like that. But the more videos you watch about it, because people do it in different ways, the more comfortable you get. I'm looking at the chats. Does it matter how slow or fast? No. Do you need to do this, to do it in this order? No, you don't need to do it in this order. This is just how you can start with any point. As long as you hit some of those points, it will work. So it's not really picky. So the way you need to think of these points these are meridian points that when you touch them, and you should tap on each one like at least 5 to 6 times and then move to the next one. When you're tapping on these, you're activating part of the nervous system to calm down. So it's like it's telling our nervous system, it's time to relax, it's time to detach from this situation. So when I talked to you last session about root causes of anxiety, I'm going to stop the share. Actually, I wanted to quickly show you the app, and then we'll talk about the other thing. So they have this app called the Tapping Solution on your phone that you can download. And when I downloaded, I saw that they have all these free sections, and then they have other things that says that you have to pay. So I believe the whole thing is free for 2 weeks because Sophia looked into this. And then you can, if you subscribe, I believe it's, oops, where did it go? I believe it is $7 a month or something like that if you subscribe to get everything. But you download the app, and then they have like a 5-day release anxiety series. So on different days, they'll have different videos for you, like releasing anxiety in the breath, releasing anxiety in the body, releasing anxiety in the heart. So it will go to different parts of your body to help you release from that section of the body. So I thought that was really cool. And then here's a free one that says, turn your day around, create a great day. And then they have different topics, like they have videos on anxiety, on fears, on anger, on pain, on sleep. You know, I know some people talked about how they have difficult sleeping. You know, I have a friend that I shared this with, and she wakes up at night. She said, I just started my tapping. I said, even though I'm not able to sleep, I'm so frustrated. I choose to be calm and get back to sleep, you know? So then she was tapping away, and before she knew it, she fell asleep again. So somebody said, so do fear and anxiety turn into negative energy and insecurities? Definitely, Aaron. It really does. So let me go ahead and see, what do we have next? I wanted to talk to you a little bit about trauma. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and just talk to you a little bit about trauma. So I don't know if any of you have heard of something called ACEs. So ACEs are adverse childhood events. So Blue Cross and Kaiser did a research study with 20,000 people, and they developed a tool, like a survey that you can find out online. You can find ACE self-assessment survey, and they assessed 20,000 people, and they looked at how many stressful events did they have in their life that can cause trauma. So a stressful event could be like your parents getting divorced, changing schools, moving a lot. You know, you had maybe parents that physically, or people, maybe you had some physical abuse, maybe you had some emotional abuse. So they have these categories that decide what an ACE is, an adverse childhood event. And then they track these people over many years, and they found that the more ACEs people had in their childhood, the more chronic conditions they had as an adult. So this is very important to understand and to really think about. So some of these exercises that I'm sharing with you are very specific to release trauma from the body. And next week, we're going to talk about more like physical exercises. These are more mindfulness exercises, but we're also going to talk about which specific exercise, like moving your body type of exercises, help to release trauma. But so EFT helps to release trauma. Also, another exercise that I don't have here in the slides, but you can write down. I went to a conference recently, and there was this psychologist that shared this amazing exercise that's so simple. And he said it's so powerful to release trauma that the gentleman who created it was nominated for a Nobel Prize, because it helped so many people. So this is what you need for this exercise. So this is something you have to write down. You take a piece of paper and a pencil. And they say if you use a carbon pencil, like the ones that you draw with, they say it's better. I'm not sure why. Maybe because our body has a large percent carbon. I'm not sure. But so you think of events in your life. They could be in your childhood, or they could be as an adult, that you felt unsettled. It was like a hurtful feeling. And mostly events that you think about again and again. Like I know for me, I shared with you last session that I grew up in communism, and I had very difficult, challenging experiences. I was abused physically, emotionally, in a lot of different ways. So I used this exercise, and it really helped me. So I went back to events that would pop in my head from time to time, and they would just be random. Like one time it was a stressful event that I had with a mean teacher, you know, that spanked me when I was in school in Romania, because she was a communist and I didn't want to sign up for the Communist Party. So she spanked me. So if you have specific, another event that was stressful to me, I went on a boat with my brother-in-law, and he asked me to use to help him park it. And I had no idea how to park a boat. And I hit the side of the dock and I broke the dock. And years later, I kept thinking about that stressful event. So think about stressful events that you might have had in your life, and what feelings come up for you. So you might ask yourself, okay, so you can write it down. On this event where I was in the boat and this happened to me, I felt, and then you put how you felt. And you just write anything that comes to your mind, how you felt, how that event, how that situation made you feel. And then once you write a few of these events or these situations that felt unsettling, and it could be sometimes something small, like a kid on a playground was really mean to me and he pushed me and I fell, you know, and it just made me feel so sad and made me feel worthless or whatever. Or it might be something more traumatic. But sometimes even small events can trigger people because we all have a different level of sensitivity. In one family, you might have 3 kids and one is super sensitive if they see their parents fight and they take it like personally, like it's their fault. And another kid is like, I'm going out to play. I don't want to hear this, right? So we're all so different. So think about these childhood events or events as an adult that really hurt you and write down how they made you feel. That's number 1. Number 2, you read them out loud, you speak them. And the idea is to use our senses. This is why this exercise is so powerful. So writing, you're using the sense of touch, right? And then you're also using the sense of seeing. You're seeing all these emotions on a piece of paper. Then you speak them out loud. That's another sense. You're hearing your voice. And then you take the paper and you burn it. And then you're smelling the burn, right? So we're using several senses in the body to release these traumatic feelings and events and get them like off our chest. And when I did this exercise, I stopped having those images of like hitting the boat and damaging the boat, right? Or damaging whatever. Or and you might have to do it a few times. And it's important to only do a little bit at a time, because if we release too many emotions too fast, it can be overwhelming. So let me look at any questions. What about anxiety? How can we use this app for anxiety? So the app specifically has videos for anxiety that you can choose, and you can practice and follow along. Okay. The other thing I have here on the screen is some exercises and information about meditation. So we're not going to get a chance to do a live exercise, but I wrote some very specific meditation exercises that are really simple. So meditation, again, uses breathing, and sometimes people get intimidated when they hear the word meditation, but it can be something very simple, like sitting quietly in like a good posture, like standing straight up. And this is usually, they don't recommend we lay down because we can fall asleep. So sitting down or sitting on the floor is really helpful. And you close your eyes for 10-15 minutes and you let your awareness be on your breath, and you just kind of pay attention, and you can put your hand on your belly and kind of do like a belly breathing. And then you just say and repeat either one statement, or you can use several. So this one is an example of 5 statements that I wrote here. I am calm. I am safe. I am healed. I am loved. I am appreciated. So this is a very simple exercise that you can do. You put on some relaxing music, and you can silently repeat one statement or several statements for 10-15 minutes. It can be as simple as that. And this meditation, there's so many studies and so many powerful improvements that people can experience just using a simple exercise like that. And then I include, some people like to follow along like a guided video, a guided meditation. So I included here a 14-minute video that you can use. And then I also included an article on meditation. So I also want you to think for next week, set some goals, practice what we learned today, setting goals for the week. Like, I'm going to do the breathing exercise once a day or twice a day, like Dr. Andrew Weil recommended. I'm going to try the EFT. I'm going to do that, for 5 minutes a day. I'm going to try a very simple meditation for 10 minutes, just repeating one positive statement. So these are all really good examples of exercises that you can try out, and let us know next week how you're doing.
Otilia, excuse
yeah.
me. Sorry, you do have like 2 questions in the chat. One
Okay.
is from LR. They are asking if I take lots of vitamins like vitamin D3 and ashwagandha, for example, do you know if taking prescription sleep meds can interact with them?
Yes, so some supplements can interact with medication, but not the basic ones like vitamin D. I'm not aware, but you should always go talk to your doctor, because I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not giving any medical advice. But one tool that's very helpful is WebMD. If you search WebMD side effects of, and then you put the vitamin you're taking, it will tell you benefits, side effects, and interactions. So that's a really good source, because information is always changing and they're always doing more studies. So I really encourage you to go to that, but I'm not aware of any side effects specifically or interaction from vitamin D. But what can happen, the reason I shared with you that I recommend people take vitamin D with K2 is, and someone last week said, well, I have one doctor who says it's good to supplement with vitamin D. I have another doctor that says it's not. It'd be interesting to know why. And one of the reasons I've learned why doctors are concerned about vitamin D supplementation, especially large doses, is it can create calcium. So our body produces more calcium when we use vitamin D. And the reason I recommend K2 is if you don't take K2, the calcium can go in the wrong places. So they've done studies on women that had breast cancer, because they found that there's such a strong correlation between cancer and vitamin D. So they put these women that had breast cancer on large doses of vitamin D. Well, they started to have arterial sclerosis, and some of them heart attacks. Why? Because the calcium went in the wrong place. If you take K2 with it, the calcium goes in the bones and the teeth, and it will not go in the arteries. So that is one thing that I've read studies about, and now there are companies that create D3 with K2, and that's what I use. I use a brand named Thorn, and another one called Live Wise, and they have liquid drops, and they have D3 and K2 together in the same bottle. So information, so good, thank you. You're welcome, Jenny. So I can stay a little bit longer if people have more questions, and if there's some people that need to leave, that's fine, but we'll stay a little bit longer.
Otilia, Maria
Yeah.
has a question asking, she's saying, I always feel tired, no energy. Do you know what kind of vitamin I should take?
So tiredness many times can be low B12. And for B12, a lot of vitamins are synthetic. They're not all natural. So it's really important when I take a B, especially B12, I want to make sure it comes from a from a food source, not from a lab, like a synthetic source. So the way you're going to know that it's a natural food source, it's called methylcobalamin. So B12, I also like liquids. They absorb a lot better. I put it under my tongue. And I use a brand called Global Healing. That's the brand of B12 that I use. And they make a really good organic B12 that comes from a food source, not synthetic. The synthetic ones can actually give you more anxiety. They're called cyanocobalamin. You want to get the ones that are called methylcobalamin. Those are from a natural source. So many people are sensitive to the synthetic ones. So I strongly recommend, and that's what I take, is the natural version that are called methylcobalamin. Okay, any other questions that I didn't get to? I see that a lot of you guys have questions about supplements, so we can also, the last session, I'm going to share with you. So let me tell you what's next week. Next week, we're going to talk about specific physical exercises that benefit people with anxiety. I'm going to talk about sleep, how sleep plays a big role and what you can do. A lot of really good tips that you can apply to improve your sleep. And then we're going to talk about the healing benefits of spending time in nature. We're going to talk about positive affirmations. And then the last session, I'm going to share with you some of my best hacks. You know how they use the word hacks, like hacking your computer. Well, we have health hacks, like shortcuts. What has made the most difference for me in helping me to heal my anxiety? I'm going to share with you all those secrets. So that's what's happening the next 2 sessions. Let's see what other questions there are. So the class next week is the same. It's at noon on Tuesday and then on Thursday, just like this week. Yes, everyone will have a chance. So I'm going to enter your name. If you attend 4 sessions, I will enter little papers with your name, 4 papers, into my little bucket, and I'll do a drawing at the end. So thank you again, everybody, for attending. I hope this has helped. But what I wanted to say is the last session, I'm happy to dedicate more time for questions. And since people have a lot of questions about supplements, and you can also email me if you have a burning question that it's really specific for you, or you didn't feel comfortable asking it here in the group, feel free to email me and I will do my best to get back to you. And you should have my email because I sent quite a few emails your way, but if you don't, it's otilia.tiutin, otilia.tiutin@cchealth.org. There we go. Sophia put it in the chat. Thank you, Sophia. So if people don't have any more questions, we will talk again next week. So our next class is next week, Tuesday at noon. I will send you the Zoom link the day before, and then about an hour before, I will email you the PowerPoint for next week as well, just like I've been doing. So I hope that you're finding this beneficial. I hope that you're going to get to practice, especially over the weekend. Like, please take some time and watch some of the meditation videos that I recommended. I have a really, really powerful one that I put there that's 14 minutes. In the slide. So you open the slide and you just click on those links that I embedded in there, and it will take you to the videos and to the articles. So thank you all for, someone said, I also feel dizzy almost every day. Dizziness has to do with not drinking enough water sometimes. It can also be with low blood pressure. So if you're not checking your blood pressure, especially if you take blood pressure medications, sometimes they need to be adjusted, and people feel dizzy because they're taking maybe too much. So, but pay attention to your water. Are you drinking half your weight in ounces? That can be a very common reason why some people feel dizzy or tired and even anxious. Like I said, toxins get built up in the body if we don't drink enough water and if we don't exercise regularly. And then anxiety can happen just simply from the body being so overwhelmed with toxins. That's why for me, I mentioned last week that I switched to eating more vegetarian. I do eat fish, but I'm eating more vegetarian because meat have more toxins and they are harder to digest. So for me, my digestion system is much happier when I'm eating more like soups and salads and vegetables, and my intestines don't feel heavy. After I eat meat, they feel really, really heavy. it takes a long time to digest meat. So then the energy of the body, the body doesn't have enough energy to do detoxification, especially when we're sleeping. Our body detoxifies a lot when we are sleeping. So that's something that I noticed, is that I'm sleeping so much better, and my digestion system is a lot better. I don't feel heavy after my meals. So pay attention how you're feeling after you eat some foods. I even recommend keeping a food journal for people, because if you're feeling tired after a certain food, pay attention. What was that food? Or, there's also an exercise online that you can look up. The pulse method is to take your pulse before, and then you eat the food, and you take your pulse after. And if you are sensitive to a certain food, you might not be allergic, but you might be sensitive, your pulse will go up. So that's a really interesting method also, that we can understand better how our body works and what foods are good for us and what are not. And you take your pulse by putting 2 fingers kind of like on the side here, and you count how many beats in 1 minute, or you do it like you go to the side of your neck, and that's another place you can take your pulse, and you count how many beats. A normal pulse should be under 80 beats per minute for a resting. Like when you're just resting, sitting down in a chair, you're not running or anything. If you're just relaxing, your pulse should be under 80. The lower, like some athletes have it between 50 and 60. So if you're like really fit, maybe yours is like 60, 65. So like my husband is a soccer player. He has like really, really good pulse. It's always like under 70. So so I strongly encourage you to also try that, taking your pulse before you eat the food, wait a little bit, like 5-10 minutes, and take your pulse again and see, is your pulse going up? Are you feeling tired? For me, I know gluten is a major trigger. So when I eat gluten, I feel super tired. I feel irritated. My pulse goes up. So that's something that I eliminated from my diet, and it's really helped with my anxiety. So pay attention and see what are some of the things that trigger you. Or if you eat a certain meat, like some people, have a hard time digesting beef, or some people might have hard time digesting chicken. Recently, I listened to a presentation by this doctor named Dr. McDougall. He really promotes vegetarian diets and healing with vegetarian diets. And he says that chicken is the most inflammatory meat. I had no idea. I ate chicken all my life. I thought, oh, chicken is a lot better than pork and beef. Well, now I'm learning that chicken is very inflammatory. So pay attention how you're feeling after you eating certain foods. So we're getting close to 1:15. I don't want to go any longer, but it was so great to see all of you again, to have you participate. Thank you for all your questions. You asked really good questions. Thank you for trying out these new methods. Be brave and try even the tapping. It might feel a little bit weird, but just go along with it and have fun. And then we'll talk again next Tuesday. Thank you so much, Sophia and Arnie, for helping. And I will see all of you next week. And I'll be sending out the recordings, hopefully tonight or tomorrow. Bye-bye.